It's time to become the best version of yourself and help others do the same. It's Monday morning and we're talking success.
Good morning, Soul family. Jordan Peterson coming at you live from our Soul Studios here in Pleasant Grove, Utah. I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. Today is August 14th. And we are doing so well. Fall is right around the corner. We have survived the summer. School started in some of your areas. It's starting soon in others. It's going to be fun to get back into a regular routine where we're just doing things that are great and moving forward in life. So it's been a great summer so far for us. I hope it has been for you as well. Looks like we have a great group out there live with us today. As always, chime in. Let us know what you're up to, where you're at, or just wish us a good morning, and we'll be able to get your name into the bucket of fun for a drawing. Now, today's drawing is a little bit unique. Usually we give out our nice swag items, bottles and shirts and hats and whatever else we have. But today, as I mentioned last week, we are going to be doing a little bit of almost like a book club. Not necessarily a book club in that we're just going to come and read the books together and talk about them. We're just going to talk about some of the main principles from these books that we read. And the book we are learning about right now is called The Anatomy of Peace, right there by the Arbinger Institute. And it's a great one. So we're going to be giving these away today. 4 of you are going to be the lucky recipients, and we'll send them out to you if you don't have one already. But it's a great one just to put on your shelf and to read. We're going to talk more about that today. Sound good? Lisa says, I already got the audiobook. Yep, yeah, it's a great way to go is listening to those as well. So yeah, make sure you chime in so we can get your name in the bucket of fun and see if you can win something. Sound good? Now, this last week, we had some great rock and rollers, and what a rock and roller is somebody who has enrolled a great amount of people or a great amount of volume, bringing new people into the Soul family, and we'd like to recognize you for all your hard work. So let's jump into that segment right now, which we call Rock and Roll. Here we go. Judah Zarate coming in at number 10. Number 9 is Eduardo Lopez. Rigoberto Hernandez and Adamelvis Ona at number 8. We've got Lydia Ferrantino coming in at number 7. At number 6, we've got Gina Villalobos. Number 5, Nolvis Lobena and Agnieszka Vargas. We've got Maria A. Morfin coming in at 4. At 3, we've got Jose Rodriguez. And rounding out our top 10 list, we've got Olga Ibarra Nunez at number 2. And number 1, we've got Veronica Martinez. Veronica's a name you guys see quite often. Doing great things up there at the top of our leaderboard. So well done. It's so good to see you guys. Just keep inviting people to Soul Family and doing the goodness of just introducing them to things that can really change their lives. So congratulations on that. Now, jumping into our Costa Rica info, we're going, guys, it's coming right around the corner. It's been so fun planning this stuff out. If you're coming, make sure you book your airline tickets, let B know all about it so we can make sure we have transportation for you there. We're going to cover the cost of transportation, obviously, getting you from the airport to the hotel. So we need to make sure we get you guys figured out when you're going to be there. Costa Rica fact. As of right now, it's 81 degrees down there with a high of 83 and a low of 78. Man, it's a 5-degree difference between our low and high. That's what we love about Costa Rica. It's so freaking awesome. And with it being the rainy season right now, we've got rain every day. Here in a couple months, we're going to see that start changing a little bit, but right now that's where we're at. Now, an interesting fact about Costa Rica is this. It says every town, no matter how small, has 3 things: a church, a soccer field, and a little small corner store. They call it a pulperia. And the interesting thing about a pulperia and the difference between that and like a little supermarket is that the pulperia keeps all the merchandise behind the counter. Maybe you've seen some old time movies where somebody walks in and says, hey, I need some flour and some milk or whatever, and the guy behind the counter goes and grabs it for him and then brings it forward. That's what a pulperia is. It says that often the owners live in the same building, which helps with overhead costs, which means the cost of the products in these little corner stores are about the same as you'd find in a normal supermarket. So it's not something that you're going to get gouged at. They're really popular because back in the day, and even today, a lot of older women don't drive. And so they can just walk down a little corner store in their town, grab whatever they need, and go back to their houses to cook. They believe the name pulperia comes from the root of the word pulpa, which can either mean boneless meat or fruit pulp. And they're not really quite sure which one that comes from because back in the day before they had refrigeration systems, these corner stores were all they had. So they'd actually go to these every day to get their food and take them home. So they'd buy their meat or whatever they needed. So they said maybe it comes from that. But there's another group of individuals that thinks it comes from the root word pulpa comes from fruit pulp. And that's because they love their smoothies and batidos, as they call them down in Costa Rica, which requires a fruit pulp. And so instead of going through that labor of having to make that yourself, if you've ever done anything with fruit, you have a lot of it and you smush it down and it becomes like almost nothing, right? And so that's a lot of work if you're making a lot of that stuff. So these stores would do that. You could go down and buy it, make your own smoothies and fruit drinks and whatever else. And so there's a couple different ideas where the word pulparia comes from, but that's where we're at today. So there's your interesting fact about Costa Rica, where we're going. So it's good stuff there. All right. Now, ingredient spotlight. Guys, we've got some great ingredients. It's always such a struggle for me each Monday to come up with some ideas on which ingredient we're going to spotlight because there's so many good ones. And today's, we are going to focus on one found in our NeuroIM. It is called the chaga mushroom. Chaga mushroom. You guys ready for this? Here we go. It says, in recent years, there's been a huge surge and interest in natural remedies and superfoods that offer numerous health benefits. Among them, the chaga mushroom has gained significant attention for its potential healing powers. Found primarily in cold regions such as Siberia, Alaska, and Canada, this remarkable fungus is revered for its medicinal qualities. We'll explore 4 of the incredible benefits. Here we go. Number 1, immune system support. The chaga mushroom contains an array of bioactive compounds that can bolster the immune system. One of its key components is beta-glucans, which stimulate the production of immune cells and enhance their ability to fight off infections and diseases. Regular consumption of chaga mushroom may help reduce the risk of illness and strengthen overall immunity, which is awesome. A lot of these herbs and adaptogens that we use, that's one of the key things. They always help with immunity, which is something we're always dealing with, right? So we gotta make sure we're in a good spot. Number 2, it's an antioxidant powerhouse. Chaga mushroom is renowned for its exceptional antioxidant content. Antioxidants are crucial in neutralizing harmful free radicals in the body, which can otherwise lead to oxidative stress and chronic diseases. Chaga mushroom contains high levels of melanin, polyphenols, and triterpenes, making it a potent source of antioxidants that can combat inflammation, promote healthy aging, and protect against cellular damage, which is something we're all going through, so it's a good thing to have in our system, right? Number 3, gut health enhancement. Maintaining a healthy gut is essential for overall well-being, and chaga mushroom can play a role in supporting optimal digestive health. The mushroom's high fiber content promotes regular bowel movements and helps maintain a healthy gut microbiome. Additionally, chaga mushroom contains natural prebiotics that nourish beneficial gut bacteria, improving digestion and nutrient absorption, which is what it's all about. It doesn't matter what you eat, it matters what you absorb and can use, right? And so these prebiotics and everything else that the chaga mushroom has is so good for us to make sure we're in a good spot there. Last but not least, energy and stamina boost. We all can use a little more energy. If you talk to everybody, how you doing? Man, tired is like, busy and tired are like 2 of the most common answers we hear, right? If they're really being honest. If they don't give you just like, oh, good, right? Busy and tired. So it's great for that. Energy and stamina boost. In today's fast-paced world, many of us struggle with fatigue and low energy levels. Chaga mushroom offers a natural solution by boosting energy and stamina. It contains a range of nutrients, including B vitamins, minerals, and polysaccharides that can enhance physical endurance and mental focus, which is what we're all about here at Soul, right? The holistic side of it, the physical side and the mental side. Incorporating chaga mushroom into your daily routine may help combat fatigue and improve overall vitality. And that's what we're seeing when people take this. The testimonials coming in are just abundant in, man, it makes me feel alive. It gives me energy. It helps me remember things, makes my brain feel awake. All those wonderful things that we're looking for. So if you haven't already, get NeuroIM into your regimen and you're going to see some great things, right? Debbie says, it looks like it's on fire. I love the look of the chaga. Yeah, it's so good. It makes your brain feel like it's on fire too. It makes you feel like you're going, right? Such a good one if you haven't tried it already. And we've got a great testimonial I want to jump into as well. It says this, I take my products every day. No more digestion issues, no more menopause symptoms, joint and pain relief, among others. I have been using the products since 2018 and love them all. And that's what we're talking about, guys. Good stuff. All right, Tiffany says, did it make you register for your next? So I ran a half marathon over the weekend, and I think I have retired from running for the rest of my life. It was brutal. Tiff, I'll have to tell you all more about it, but man, I'm not built for long distance running. I did my goal of beating my brother and my brother-in-law, but other than that, man, it has been brutal. The last 2 days have been crazy trying to get my body used to all that. So I'll tell you what, there's other people that do way more hard things than I do, and I am not a marathon runner or a half marathon runner, come to find out. I'm gonna stick with hiking and fishing and hunting, and we'll go from there. So, man, it was crazy stuff. All right, now let's jump into what we talked about earlier. So last Monday, we talked about the book, The Anatomy of Peace. And we talked about how we're just going to jump into it a little bit and kind of have a book club. I know a lot of you have read it or have started to read it or listened to it, and that's such a great thing. So to give you guys kind of an idea of where we're at with this and why we started with this, on the very front of the cover, it says it's a #1 conflict resolution bestseller for over a decade. So why in the world would we want to read a book about conflict resolution in just trying to make ourselves better? Right? And boy, I'll tell you what, if there is not conflict in your life, then you are in a great spot, because conflict seems to be everywhere. With our ability to access information that we disagree with or even that we agree with, there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of people with different opinions. We can share that now in ways that we never have before. There's just so much going on in division across every place that you can possibly look. And so when I listened to this book and read this book, I thought to myself, and this is something that I think can benefit all of us. So why don't we focus a little bit on the personal development side of things, tie it back into soul, some of the things we're doing here, and see that, man, not only are our products holistic, but in the way we can learn and benefit each other, that's a holistic thing as well. So to start it off, let's talk about some great quotes surrounding conflicts. Thomas Crum says the quality of our lives depends not on whether or not we have conflicts, but on how we respond to them. And I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody that hasn't had some sort of a conflict in their life. There's some that seem so happy and nonchalant, and you're like, how are they in a good spot? And for most of us, they know how to deal with it correctly, right? Ronald Reagan said, peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. And this book dives heavily into that. Wayne Dyer says, conflict cannot survive without your participation. Isn't that a cool thing? Like, you cannot have conflict in your life if you decide not to be a part of it, right? Like, if you decide not to be a part of the stuff and have those hard feelings and contribute to the mess that's going around, you can actually choose not to participate and not have the conflict in our life. It also talks about, it's the same thing you hear about drama. People are like, oh, you know what? Drama dies without an audience. If you don't give it an audience, it dies. Conflict is the same way. Maya Angelou, 10% of conflict is due to difference of opinion, and 90% is due to the delivery and tone of voice. And I find that one to be really interesting, because the way we communicate nowadays is through, you see people with tweets, Facebook, Instagram, and text messages. And the one thing we remove from all of those is tone of voice. And so we read that however we think that individual is sharing that. And unless they put like some emojis and different things on that, you have no idea how that tone of voice is. And it can create interesting issues with you. Because honestly, it says 10% of conflict is due to difference of opinion. Most of us have the same opinions on everything. Most of us want things to go better, want things to change. It's just how we're talking about them and putting ourselves in a position for that makes a big difference on that, right? That's a tricky thing. Reading from the book, here we go. The preface. I thought the preface was really interesting, and I wanted to do that. So we're not going to read this book page by page. We're not going to even do big overviews of what the book's about. But for those of you who haven't read it yet, if you're hearing about this for the first time, you missed last week, I want to give you enough information to at least follow along with us and kind of be able to keep up with why this book and maybe why we want to be part of it. No, I don't get any commission on this. If you guys decide to buy it, it has nothing to do with that. I just think it's a great book, so I think you guys can look at it, okay? In the preface, it says, why is there so much confusion regarding how to deal with conflict when there is so much need? The answer is that when parties are in conflict, they actually don't want what they think they want. Is that interesting? We assume that people in conflict want solutions, but the truth is that more often than not, they unwittingly work against their own objectives. Parents of belligerent children do want the belligerence to end. Those who work for tyrannical managers want to end the tyranny. and the citizens of vulnerable nations certainly want to be treated with respect. Notice, however, that parties in conflict all wait on the same solution. And this is the same thing we see in everything, right? They wait on the other party to change. Man, the conflict will just end in my life if the other people just get in line and do what I want them to do. Have you ever said that to yourself? Have you ever seen that? Should we be surprised then when conflicts linger and problems remain? Because both sides are waiting for the other person to change. And we all know we have zero ability to change others. They have to change themselves. And so what do we have control over? Well, we have control over ourselves, right? And that leads us to this right here. This is called the influence pyramid. It says, and this is what it shows this picture in the book. But as you can see, most of the area here is taken up by helping things go right. But we spend most of our time at the top dealing with things going wrong. And so it puts us in a really tricky spot because we spend all this time and energy trying to fix things going wrong, where in reality, we have very little control over that stuff. So we should be more focused on helping things continue to go right and watch those conflicts kind of melt and disappear. So in this book, the overview of it, we have some parents that take some of their troubled kids to a camp. Some of you have heard of camps like this. They're like these wilderness experience camps. This camp is called Camp Moriah. It's a 60-day wilderness adventure. They take them out into the wilderness and have them try to figure out how to make life work. But for the first 2 days of this camp, they bring all the parents in to teach them how to help themselves become better and how to have control over things they can have control over. And really the book focuses most on that. One thing that they kind of focus on here is the parents come in and they're like, listen, I've tried changing my kids. It didn't work. Good luck on you figuring out how to do this. And so these two camp directors try to talk about how maybe we need to change our mindset on that a little bit. And maybe some of you have said those same things in your own life, in your families and friends and the conflicts that you're in. Maybe you've said it in even soul. Man, I wish my leaders would just do this. Man, I wish my members would just buy. Man, I wish everybody would just try as hard as me. Man, I wish that we were just in a better spot. I'm trying to change it the best I can, and it's not working, right? So you focus all your time on there dealing with the things that aren't going wrong, that are going wrong, instead of dealing things with going right. So in this, there's a really poignant thing that comes out to me in this, and I'm going to read a few of these paragraphs to you. In this, there's a girl that's declining to go out there. She shows up to this camp. Her parents are there trying to make her go. Her name's Jenny. She's sitting on the curb with no shoes on. They're down in Arizona. It's hot. And all the parents are like, well, if they're heading out, getting ready to go on the buses, like, why don't you make her go? Like, what's going on here? And the guy who is in charge of this, name's Yusuf. And he says, Camp Moriah is a private organization with no authority of the state, Yusuf said. We have no desire to create additional problems by trying to bully people into doing what we want them to do. We do not force children to enroll. Anything there that might sound familiar to what we're doing here in Seoul? So then one of the parents says, well, then you have a problem, dude. And Yusuf says, yes, we certainly do. The same problem we have in each of our families and the same problem coworkers and countries have with one another. We are all surrounded by other autonomous people who don't always behave as we'd like. So one of the parents says, so what can you do when that's the case? And Yusuf says, get really good at deeper matters, at helping things go right. And then a parent says, and how do we get good at that? And they say, well, let's talk about it more in the other books. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to dive into more of this in the next Monday. As you can see, I mean, we're 19 pages into this thing. There's 200 and something pages here. So we've got a lot to go over and a lot to continue to do. But man, how do you help things in your organization go right? Oftentimes we focus on those things that are going wrong, and we spend a lot of time and energy trying to fix those little things. But what are going right? How do we contribute to help those things continue to grow and become bigger? How does that work in our relationships with our husbands or our wives or our partners? How does that work in our family relationships? How do we really focus on those things? Because honestly, a lot of us focus on those things that are just going wrong, right? It's like that mote in our eye, like that's all we can see. We can't see anything else. And man, it just makes it really tricky to focus on anything else. But as we learn here, you can't bully people into doing other things. And most conflicts arise because we're just waiting for the other person to change. Now you may be saying to yourself, well, that's because they're wrong. Like, of course I'm going to wait for them to change. They're wrong, right? Maybe reevaluate that just a little bit. Take a step back and see if there's anything you can actually have control over and change. And you're probably going to see some great things happen in your life. Sound good? So again, what are things that are going right in organizations? How do we build off of those? How do we make those continue to grow? And let's see where we go from there. Because as it says, conflict cannot survive without your participation, and 10% of conflict is due to difference of opinion, and 90% is due to the delivery and tone of voice. Talk with your people, get out in front of them, see how they're really doing. Sound good? Erica says, celebrate and acknowledge the activity we want to see more of. Absolutely. Lydia says, get really good at helping things go right. Absolutely. Rachel, starting with how we see things, our perception and belief is where we start. 100%, right? Good stuff. Satinka says, if I ever wonder about a message, I don't even reply. I call to make sure everything is cool. That's absolutely good, right? Man, we love all that stuff. And as Lisa says, you mean we have a choice, JP? Absolutely. We always have a choice, right? Our choice just isn't to change others as we want to change them, right? So many good things, right? Erica says, and love unconditionally regardless of the behavior. Absolutely. Separate the behavior from the person. You're going to see great things. We're going to talk more about that going forward. That's kind of like an underlying theme, or maybe the main theme of this book is being able to differentiate behavior from people and being able to see outside the box a little bit. Sound good? All right, guys. Well, with that, let's see who's feeling lucky and is going to win this fantastic book. As always, today's episode brought to you by Cinemate and this fantastic mug. No, you do not get to have this mug, but I am going to keep it there so you can continue to see it. It's my favorite mug. If you ever come here, you'll all see it on my desk because that's how I do. So, okay, so the way this is going to work, to make it easy, instead of me buying these books and then paying for shipping to get them here and then paying for shipping to send them to you, I'm just going to send them directly to you guys, whoever wins. Sound good? So we're going to take care of you that way. And we're going to go with 4 today. 4. And it looks like we got a good group in here. So hopefully you guys are feeling lucky enough. If you already have this book or you'd like to have it given to somebody else, just text me if you win and want to do that, and I'll make sure I send it to somebody else. Sound good? And Claudia wants it in Espanol. If you win, I will send it to you in Spanish, my friend. It's in like 30 different languages, so I'm sure Spanish is one of those, right? And here we go. The first winner of the book is, oh, that is hilarious, Claudia Juarez Nunez. Yes. I'm telling you, you saw me shuffle, guys. She wins it, and I'll send it to you in Spanish, my friend. Claudia got you covered. Next up, we've got Christy Malone over in Nevada. You got yourself a book as well. Tanya's saying, yes, please. Let's see if you're feeling lucky. Here we go. Here we go. We got Tammy Peterson down in Texas. Yippee! Tammy, there you go. And last but not least, here we go. Who's feeling lucky? I know you can hear me shuffling them. I'm not peeking. You can see I'm not peeking. And here we go. Last but not least, we've got Rosa Nunez as well. Listen, if your last name was Nunez, you had a 50% chance of winning because half the people won today were Nunez's. So congratulations to Claudia, Christy, Tammy, and Rosa. We'll get those books sent out to you. Rosa, if you'd like yours in Spanish as well, let me know. But Claudia will send you out one in Spanish. Christy, Tammy, get English, and Rosa will decide on you. But as always, guys, keep doing your thing. We're so proud of you guys. It's so good to see you guys continue to work. I promise the chaos of summer is coming to an end, and you're going to be able to get much more into a routine, and it's going to put yourself in a position to really continue to move forward. Sound good? All right, guys, as always, keep sharing soul. Sure love you guys, and we'll see you again soon.